Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 2, Family, Family, Family. This episode, it had its high moments, it had its low moments, but overall, the girls, they're repeating the same drama that's being dragged and dragged and dragged. I am tired of Teresa and Joey's drama with each other, including with Melissa. It's just, I'm done. I'm tired. Well, where we last left off is Jennifer. She was leaving the party. She was storming out the party. She just called Dolores a handbag. And Jennifer is leaving with her husband, upset to how the conversation went with Dolores. Remember, Jennifer and Dolores, they seem to have a friendship in which there was a betrayal by Dolores to what Jennifer feels, that, she's losing her friend. Her friend is two-faced. Her friend is not being supportive. Her friend is not there. When, I don't know, Dolores, she's been nothing but a friend to Jennifer. I don't know. I really want to get more insight to what Jennifer thinks what went wrong. And I guess, Jennifer, if you're going to be Jennifer's friend, you got to be her friend blindly, no matter what she does. No matter how she feels about a situation, you just gotta stand and defend Jennifer. And Dolores, she is the type of person that, she'll have your back, but at some point where she cannot defend you, she's gonna let you know. And that's what I respect about Dolores. So it's kind of unfortunate that Jennifer, she feels really hurt about the situation, and she's dragging this on. And, Dolores is not the one to back down and just let it go. She's like a woman who holds her own. So it's kind of sad because it's like, I feel like this fight can be dropped, especially by Jennifer, if she just accepts the fact that someone who's your friend cannot just blindly be your friend. I think that she could really let the situation go. And, the girls at the party are trying to tell Dolores, no, you got to work things out for your friend. That's your friend. And I'm like, why are they so adamant about Jennifer and Dolores making up? Especially since some of the girls at the party didn't really like Jennifer. It's just interesting to see that, even though they don't like Jennifer, they do want to see Dolores make up with Jennifer. Even though the Dolores went against them for Jennifer, they want Dolores and Jennifer to make up. And I do too. I don't like when Dolores is angry or like upset about a situation. It just doesn't sit well. Like it makes like the scene kind of much more heavy because Dolores, she can fight. Okay, she can fight. So we see the daily mom scenes and everyone's everyday life. And I love the scene with Danielle and her family. She's with her husband and her son is so silly. Her son is saying, I can show you how well I can speak British. And he starts saying, mother, and then they're smiling and laughing at him, and then he starts to say the F word, the F-er. And I'm like, this family has so much potential. They are hilarious. I can't wait to see what more they contribute to this franchise. But it's looking up for Danielle and her family. I like them. We then see Jennifer and her kids. And Jennifer's kids are so shady. They're another set of family that I do think has been a great addition to the Housewives of New Jersey. Jennifer's daughter is like, I don't want to ride my bike. And Jennifer is like, no, why? Be brave. Don't worry. Don't be afraid to fall. And Jennifer's daughter is like, I don't want to fall and ruin my natural nose that is beautiful. And I'm like, that's a shade to Jennifer and her nose job gone bad. So I like that. These two families, they are hilarious. We get a scene from like Margaret, but I'm like, I feel like I wish we saw more of Margaret's life. I don't know. We only see her and her husband, but I feel like we need to see more. We then get to see Teresa, and she's planning her wedding. And you know how Teresa is. Teresa is over the top. Teresa says, in her party, she's going to have over 200 people, and she wants it to be over the top and everything done to the top of the line perfection. Now, this is why I like watching the Housewives. I love seeing the over the top, the gaudy, the rich, the wealth, the opulence. That's what we came to see the Real Housewives for. So this is completely opposite from Robin, from her saying to us, slapping us in the face, saying she's not even going to have cake at the wedding. I'm like, if you don't go to Costco, get you a box of basic vanilla cake. Come on. And here we are watching Teresa having everything planned to the top of the line perfection. I say this is why we love Housewives. We love to see them spend and them live such a glamorous and perfect, not perfect, but like an opulent lifestyle. We love to see it. I know you guys do too. Then we get a scene with Melissa and Joey. I'm like, every time we get a scene with Melissa and Joey, they're talking about like non-issues. And if they are talking about an issue, it's about an issue with Teresa. I'm like, can you guys talk about something else? Like, what is going on aside from like Teresa? Like, what are you guys contributing to the show? And we see Melissa, and she's getting ready to do an award show, and she's doing the award show alongside with Teresa. Even though they're not getting along together, they do have to kind of fake it professionally, And so they're discussing how, ever since Louis got into the picture, that Louis has turned on them and made the situation with Teresa even much more worse. Like Louis didn't help. They were thinking, oh, let's be welcoming to Louis and Teresa's relationship, embrace them, and let's have a fresh start as a family. Well, they don't know what went wrong or what went left, but it seems like the situation is even worse. And I think it only feels that it is worse because more time is going by and they're not as close as they used to. But I don't know what's going to go on with this family. I don't know, where do we see the end? Because it seems like even in a positive situation of Teresa now in a relationship with Louis, it doesn't seem as though that it helps mend their issues as brother and sisters, as of course it wouldn't. But I don't know, where do they see this arguments between each other going to end? Like, where do we see the end? I think it should be the spouses not fighting with each other, like Melissa out, Louis out. Don't get in between the two brother and sister. I think those two are the ones to really resolve this situation, and come to like a truce and agree not to mention any issues or drag this anymore, or have our partners be involved in the situation. Because I feel like their situation is that there's too many cooks in the kitchen and there's no formula for success that's being laid out. We then get to a scene with Jennifer at her home with her kids, and Danielle is coming over. Now, Danielle, she's my new favorite housewife so far. I love getting to know her, and she brings over her kids to play with Jennifer's kids, and they're close to about being the same age. And when Danielle comes to the home, she's super complimentary towards Jennifer's home. Even though the other girls say Jennifer's home is too much, it's too gaudy, Danielle, she loves it. She's like, this house could eat my house. Like, kids, don't break anything, don't touch anything. She's just so sweet. I really like Danielle. So I'm looking forward to Danielle in her future in this franchise. But this is off to a really great start. Her and her family, they're hilarious. And how they mesh with the group, we'll see. So far, so good, because surprisingly enough, Danielle says out of all the girls, she actually gets along with Jennifer the most. And I thought that was interesting. I said, I wonder how long this lasts. And also be careful what you say, Danielle, because I feel like when you're friends with Jennifer, like Dolores, you kind of have to be loyal to the faults, like all the way blindly to the end. And you see what happened to Dolores. She called Dolores a handbag. So what she's gonna call you, a poodle? Is she gonna call you a poodle after she's upset with you and she's not getting her way with you? I don't know. Jennifer, I like Jennifer, but Jennifer, you gotta be careful with as a friend. You gotta be able to set your boundaries with Jennifer, you know? And I feel like with Jennifer, she likes to have control over her friendships. You know, she has a large family, so I'm pretty sure she's very much involved, especially given the situation with what happened with Bill and her with his infidelity. I feel like she likes to control a lot of the stuff that goes on in her life, and I think that also includes her friendships. But you can't control people, you know? You kind of have to let people do what people do, and respect boundaries. So I would say, Danielle, girl, keep your eye out. And so Danielle, she's telling Jennifer what was happening on with the party, and Danielle feels like Jennifer has a weird vibe with the other girls. Like, I think she sees Jen as an outsider of the group. And Danielle feels like, well, I can understand and relate to that. So that's why she's able to bond with Jen. They then do a FaceTime with Teresa. And they actually asked Teresa how things went with Margaret, because they knew that Teresa met up with Margaret. So they wanted to know how did that went. And, you know, for Teresa, ever since she went to counseling, she says to the girls that even though Margaret didn't apologize to Teresa, Teresa did give an apology to Margaret, and she's actually very satisfied with the results of that. She says things are moving forward, and what we love Teresa most for is her saying phrases that are not phrases known by anyone else but Teresa. So for her, she's happy that things are moving forward, and it's a fresh of breath air. Don't we love Teresa, guys? I love Teresa. So the girls laugh, and they find Teresa so humorous. And it's interesting that she has this kind of perspective of Margaret of moving forward, even though Jennifer, she mentions to Teresa if she brought up about Laura to her. And who Laura is pretty much, Laura is Margaret's ex-best friend that tried to get Jennifer and Teresa together to spill some tea on Margaret, pretty much. So Jennifer is wondering if Margaret ever confronted Teresa about that, or let her know that she's aware of the situation. And even though, you know, this girl, Laura, she pulled Teresa and Jennifer, who were Margaret's nemesis pretty much in this franchise, the girls, are not interested in sharing what Laura said about Margaret to Danielle or to the girls. But that does not mean that it will never happen. Pretty much, if Margaret acts right, acts correct, and don't get on the girls' nerves, aka Jennifer and Teresa, then the girls will not reveal any disgusting secrets or anything scandalous out on this platform. And I'm like, ooh, they're sitting on a secret. I'm like, what could it be? Like, I feel like Margaret's been open about so much. It's like, what is it gonna be? It's either Margaret. I think what Margaret should do is that she should come forward with whatever Laura had to say and beat her to the punch and kind of take control of that narrative. But interesting enough, Jennifer is like, I ain't saying anything unless she pushes me. She's not a killer, but don't push her. Don't push her. And Teresa is smiling too. She's quiet. She's like, I'm going to wait on this one. So I'm like, damn, I want to know. Danielle, she's like, girls, you're not going to tell me, like, you guys legit are both, like, silent and not gonna say anything about it. And I'm like, yes, Danielle, don't let them like don't try to not get it out of them. I mean, yes, do your duty, but damn, I want to know too. We then get a scene at Rachel's house, and Rachel so far, she got a little bit into it with Jennifer and with Jackie, but I haven't fallen in love with her yet compared to Danielle. And okay, what I am happy is that usually when we have two new housewives that come in together, they kind of go at heads with each other to kind of cement their spot on the franchise. And we know this because of history, of course. When Portia and Kenya came into the season together, they kind of turned on each other to kind of fight for their spot in the franchise, even though both of them were a great addition to their franchise. So far, Rachel and Danielle are not at odds with each other, but when I look at Rachel and what she's contributing so far into the show, I'm not too much interested. And it's funny enough, she's sitting in the scene and she's opening up about her family, and I'm like, she's explaining the situation with her stepson. I'm like, girl, that's your son regardless to what people think. The way I like the photos of watching her stepson growing up. So I'm like, if you were there for so much time, that's your son pretty much. But I understand from her to others it may look like it's not that kind of situation because of the age difference. But aside from that, that's your son, girl. And then we have a scene with the family eating together, and her baby is actually kind of funny. The baby is like doing all these noise, and Rachel's like, are you bored? And she's like, yeah, I'm bored. You guys are boring me. And I'm like, I agree, they are a little bit boring me. I'm like, let's give it some time. But so far, what's saving the situation is that baby. That baby is hilarious. I love the baby so far. So let's give that time. We then get a scene at Margaret's party. So who's invited to this party? Because I'm like, who's gonna show up to this party? Because Margaret, when she throws a party, there's always some scandal going on. So at the party, we have Melissa, Jen Fessler, Dolores, Jackie, and that's the squad. And so pretty much this is a small little party with the girls, and they're planning to play games, and the game is pretty much inappropriate questions. So the way it works is that they ask a question, and they have to answer on a piece of paper and throw the paper into a bowl. Then someone has to go and pick an answer out from the bowl, and guess who said it. So it's all inappropriate questions, okay? So they're answering all the questions, and you're seeing how scandalous Margaret is and how prudish Melissa is. But ultimately it leads to a conversation about Teresa, because these girls got nothing much to talk about if it's not about Teresa, okay? It always boils down to what Teresa is doing, And Melissa, she talked about the situation where she had an event that she had to do an award show with Teresa together, but it was weird, and she doesn't want to fake their relationship anymore. Her and her husband are tired of faking relationship with Teresa, and I'm like, I felt like Melissa has said that already. It's like I understood that, but we have yet to see that. If you want to kind of draw lines and distance yourself from Teresa and having to fake what the relationship, then stop talking about her, stop doing stuff with her, and pretty much set your boundaries. Don't talk about her, because it's like, as much as every time you talk about and open about a situation about Teresa, it leaves you more room for scrutiny against Teresa. Like, Teresa's gonna scrutinize you now for what you have said, and and ask you why you're contradicting yourself, because if you go and you hang around me, then I'm thinking you're gonna act like family and have my back. But if you don't want to act like family and have my back, then don't be around me, don't speak about me, don't use me. And I feel like with Melissa, I don't think she's at a space where she can do that, because from what we have seen in the seasons and in the episodes, that Melissa's storyline heavily relies on her relationship as a sister-in-law with Teresa. And that means I don't think they're ever going to drop it. I don't think Teresa's going to drop it. I mean, she's going to try, but if you keep bringing it up, I think Teresa will always address you. And we know this. She's always going to fall for that. And, what's interesting enough for them is that the girls think that even though Teresa is Teresa, Jennifer is the bigger threat. They think Jennifer is the bigger issue, and that, while Teresa's on a path of counseling and trying to get forgiveness and try to move on and move forward, Jennifer, and I see this, Jennifer, she's stuck on a situation. She's dragging on and on and on about a scenario. So that's the difference between the two. And I kind of agree with this sentiment, because Jennifer doesn't seem like she's going to let go of this issue. And what's interesting enough, Margaret, she brings up of the situation that Jennifer and Teresa have been speaking to Margaret's ex-friend and gossiping. And it makes me wonder, who do you guys think is the villain? Like, is Jennifer the villain or Margaret the villain? Because what Margaret tried to say is that Jennifer is so calculating, Teresa is so calculating. They look for someone in my past to get information about me, to bring it up to this platform, pretty much to seek revenge against Margaret. But I'm like, I'm a bit confused. I don't think anyone here is innocent. I think they all want to get they don't want to get their hands dirty, so they have someone else to kind of do the dirty work, and be the villain. But who's more calculating, Jennifer or Margaret? I don't know. I don't know. I would have to think about that. We then get to a scene at Paul's house, and I'm like, Paul's house is nice. They're in the kitchen, and I'm like, the kitchen is, oh my God, immaculate. Like, I wonder who designed, who planned, who architect his home. Like, it is so gorgeous. And, so far, I'm liking Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul says all the right things. But, I'm keeping my eye on Mr. Paul, because Mr. Paul says he wants to be a little bit more social, and he enjoyed being more social with Dolores' friend group. And I'm like, don't get caught up with the cameras, Mr. Paul. I feel like Paul, I think he genuinely loves and cares for Dolores. Like, he is pulling out a different side of her, making her all mushy gushy. And even though Dolores hates it, she loves that, how they have their time. And, Dolores, she's such a considerate partner. She asks Paul if he would like to be more social. And he of course, he says yes. He enjoyed being more social with Dolores' friend group. I'm like, he loves the cameras, apparently. But, interesting enough, Paul hasn't seen Frank in quite some time. And, they're still getting used to each other, and they're still working out their friendship and how, they're balancing out their interactions with each other. And Dolores, she's setting boundaries, and, Paul, he's making it clear of what he wants. He's saying that, he's interested in Dolores, and, he does not feel the need to hang out with Frank, but he loves hanging out with Frank when he does. So I'm like, Mr. Paul, he's looking good. He's looking good. So guys, invites are out for Teresa's wedding. And I'm like, oh my God, everyone gets it. Okay, first of all, everyone gets an invite, even Melissa and Joey, okay? And when they open up the invite, it's just this beautiful is a floral arrangement with a wedding invitation into it in a box. And I'm like, man, that cost some coins. You see, Miss Robin, what you couldn't do from Housewives of Potomac? See what you couldn't do? And of course, everyone is excited, and everyone also is shocked to who got an invite. Like, even the people that just met Teresa, she invited them. But Melissa and Joy, they kind of, specifically Joy, he feels like, man, that's sad. They grew up together, and to act like strangers now, that's crazy for him. That's crazy for Melissa too, you know? And they go on, you see again in their scene again, they talk about Teresa and the family. They talk about how they used to be an old bad seed, and that created the friction for them as a family. And I'm like, not you guys bringing Joe Giudice. Joe Giudice is off in his country right now, not paying no mind, not making any comments, and they're commenting on him on this large platform. So what do you think is gonna happen? Joe Giudice is gonna give his 2 cents because they're gonna pay him for that. And then now you're gonna say, oh, Joe Giudice, he keeps writing bad remarks about us to the media for money, for this, for that. But you know, if you comment on someone, they're gonna comment back on you. So they talk about the old seed, Joe Giudice, and then they talk about the new seed, Mr. Louis Ruelas. He's the new seed that's germinating, and Louis is adding fire to the situation and not, being the namaste yogi guy that they known him as originally. So I'm like, man, come on, guys. Not again. I want you guys to use these scenes for your storyline, for what's going on in your life. Like, I like when we see them filming with their kids, because then they try to like open up about stuff outside of Teresa. But another scene that they wasted on Teresa. Man. We then get to Danielle's mozzarella party. So I've never seen a mozzarella party. I'm actually quite fascinated because A, Daniela is a new housewife and we're gonna see her hosting skills. And B, I never seen a mozzarella party, so we're gonna see what a mozzarella party is about. And I really like Danielle. Danielle's hilarious. And I'm gonna say the word that she doesn't like, cute, because I think she is so cute. Danielle is like, the girls are coming over to my home. This is my first time hosting them. My home does not compare to Jennifer's, and they better not call my home cute. And the first thing that Dolores does when she comes over, she's like, oh, this is such a cute home. And I guess the reason is because when you call someone's home cute, you're calling it small, you're calling it like very little, and that doesn't, that kind of hurts the girl's feelings. And I'm like, her home, even though I say it's cute, I like it. It looks like a home that a family lives in, and there's nothing to knock. Okay, Danielle. So Dolores, she's not excited that Jennifer is coming to the party after asking Danielle who's coming. I don't know if Dolores would come if she knew Jennifer is coming, but I think she would have still showed up because Dolores is not afraid of nobody, okay? And so Teresa, she comes in and she's like, guys, I have to, no. So Teresa comes in and Dolores shows Teresa how Jennifer repurposed her invites. And Teresa is like, guys, I had to change the invites thanks to Ramona. And we know this because we know this because of social media. This stuff came out long ago where Teresa had to send out new invites because of Ramona putting on Instagram of receiving an invite to the party, which she was later uninvited to. And, Teresa, her intention was to kind of send out the same top of the line gift invites out. But the reason she didn't is because it wasn't practical in time. And I'm like, damn, Teresa, what's the budget of this wedding? I'm curious to know what's the budget, because to send out invites again, that extravagance, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. So Jennifer, she walks in the party, and Dolores already looked like she's ready to fight. I'm like, oh my God, please, not the same thing over again. Like, this is part 2 of episode 1. We don't need to see that again. And, Teresa is like trying to kind of calm the situation down, and that makes Dolores actually more mad, because she doesn't want Teresa to keep backing Jennifer up. And Teresa said that the situation is unfortunate, but she wants her to make things right with Jennifer. And so the topic changes, and they asked Teresa how was it with Melissa at the award show. And from Teresa's perspective, it went pretty well. Like, she said she had a great time, which is different from what Melissa said, because Melissa said she had a weird time. Like, it was a weird vibe with her and her husband. And so it's interesting to see these two perspectives. It seems like Teresa, she wants to drop it. Like, she wants to just move it out. Like, let's keep it moving. Let's move it to the positive. But either Melissa is saying what the situation is and saying it's weird and not letting it go, or she's not telling the truth. I don't know what it is. And so all the girls are pretty much here except for Jackie. And Danielle was like, we're not waiting for Jackie. I'm like, damn. Did you give Jackie a later time? You gave her a later time on purpose to start without her on purpose because you don't like her? I'm like, is Danielle being shady? I want her to be shady. I want to see. But pretty much, Danielle's telling the girls that she doesn't really like Jackie, and that Jackie is a little bit snobbish, and Jackie has been a bit rude towards Danielle, and Rachel agrees. I'm like, oh, wow. I don't know if Jackie doesn't like the new girls because she was the former new girl and she's no longer the new girl, and that now she's the friend of. So I don't know. I need Jackie to outright say how she feels about the girls. Then we can really, hone in on that. But aside from that, no. So they started making the mozzarella, and the girls are so turned on by the cheese. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? Is this like erotica or something like that? But it gets kind of ruined because Margaret, she pulls Jen to the side and address to say that pretty much she knows that her ex-best friend pulled her and Teresa to the side. And, Jennifer, she cuts it really short. She's like, we have no hesitation. We have no intention of repeating what the ex-friend had to say about you. Like, that's not even us. Like, that's not what we're gonna do. And, she's coming off as the good guy. But Margaret is like, and okay, how can I trust you? And what about the issues with Dolores? Like, you still bring up those situations up. So how can you be so sure that you're not going to bring up my situation? But you're not a person to be trusted. And that sets off Jennifer. I'm like, dang, why is Jennifer so easy to wind up? Like, she's easy to wind up, and then it sets her off to set off Dolores. And, Dolores is not the one to back down. I'm like, oh no, not Dolores getting up. No, Dolores, please sit back down, please. And we see Jen Fessler in the background talking with Melissa, saying, do you want your sandwich? And Melissa's like, no, I don't want my sandwich. And Jennifer Fessler, she eats her sandwich, and she also eats like all these cheeses behind these ladies. And I'm like, this is a perfect friend up for this show. Like, okay, Fessler, I see you. And she does the right amount too. She interjects and kind of gives her 2 cents, but then step aside to let the girls go at it. And I'm like, okay, Jen Fessler, Jackie, got to take notes, because I feel like you're gonna lose your spot to Jen Fessler. And Teresa brings up and say about the seating arrangements for her wedding because, after the situation of deciding who to come to the wedding, Jennifer is like, can I sit anywhere? Just put me anywhere in the bleachers. I don't want to sit next to these ladies. And so Teresa, she brings up about the seating arrangements and saying that there's no seating arrangement. And everyone agrees. And Margaret even stands up and say that, yeah, this is best op, especially what happened last time, hinting last time about the situation with Melissa. And I'm like, damn pot stirrer. Margaret, she knows how to steer a pot. Like, damn. Then we get Melissa going at it again with Teresa, trying to say who's right, who's telling facts, and who's lying. And I can't tell. I know Teresa's not that good of a liar, but she's also a little bit convincing to make me feel like, she said one thing and then, she allowed them to do what they want, but if they made an error, she tried to clarify the error the best way that she could. And it's just too early to call. Like, I need it cut and clear. And I don't like that, they're not being true. Someone's not being truthful. And I'm leaning towards against Melissa not being so truthful because they seem like they manipulate a lot of the situation and not be so straightforward like Teresa. Because Teresa, she says the first thing that comes out her mind without thinking, And so I'm more likely to believe Teresa and understand that there could be a mix-up in a situation and not that she purposely sat her brother in a different table during their party. I don't know. But that is something interesting to see. I don't know if every episode is going to be a Melissa versus Teresa type of thing. But I'm tired of it. I just want them to work things out and be done and be settled with it, because you can't keep going on and on and on and on about this same situation that you don't get along with your brother or you don't get along with your sister. At some point, someone has to give, and if they're both being stubborn about it, there's not going to be no progress to be made or anything that's going to change in the future, which is why we kind of get some hints from Dolores that she doesn't even advise for them to continue their family relationship as brother and sister, because she doesn't even see any hope in that. And how long has this been going on? How many years has it been? And COVID was 2020, so let's use COVID as a reference point, and it's 2023. 3 years, and we know that even before that they had issues. So in 3 years, nothing was able to move forward. So what do you think? Another 3 years is going to make a difference? No, of course not. And it's just tiring for us as viewers because it's a sad situation. No one wins, and you're just dragging now the kids, like the girls are in the issue. Like, I wonder what the relationship is like between Gia and with Melissa's kids. Like, do they get along? Do they talk? Like, what do they feel about each other? I guess they don't talk. Because if the parents don't talk, the siblings won't talk to the other relatives. So it's going to be a drama that's going to pass on to a generation. And that's sad. That's really, really, really sad. And, I remember now Gia waking up in the morning, saying all these things, her singing this song. I'm like, this is about the issues of her family. Like, when Gia was that little, they were having this drama, and they still today. Gia's in college, and we still on this. Like, damn. At some point, someone gotta stop. Someone has to stop, and I don't know. Honestly, the first steps that they can take is that the spouses back out of the situation. This is not Melissa's beef. This is not Louis' beef. Louis coming into the situation, he is adding fire to the situation because he's commenting on the relationship of Joey towards his sister. And I don't think that's his position to do that. I think knowing the history, you should see that and let that be. Don't be adding more fire to the situation. Definitely not. And I don't know. I'm tired. I hope that is not going to be the whole situation for the whole season for this franchise. I'm ready to move forward and see what's going on in other people's life. I'm more interested to know about Laura. I hope we get a cameo from Laura and she talks about the situation with Margaret, because then that will give more of a storyline, because I wonder what's the secret that the girls don't want to share. But we know, I think at some point we will find out, because it's not going to take long for Margaret to get on Teresa's nerve. It's not going to take long for Margaret to get on Jennifer's nerves. So who's going to be the first one to break? I think Jennifer, because Jennifer seems like more of the hothead compared to Namaste Teresa. So, and also Teresa, she recently made up with Margaret, and it seems like Jennifer still has a tiff with Margaret, even though Margaret wants to move on. It seems like Margaret wants to call it even with Teresa and Jennifer, which is good strategy wise, because her ex-friends are going to her enemies, Teresa and Jennifer, to say bad things about Margaret. So it is in Margaret's best interest to become or fix the friendships with Teresa and Jennifer. And, we saw the preview, and the preview, we saw some shady moments. I'm like, ooh, it still looks interesting. Still looks like it's going to be an interesting season. But I'm tired. I'm ready to let go and close the chapter with resolving the beefs between the siblings. Like, that's not in our hands anymore as viewers. We're done. Andy Cohen probably done. He's probably tired of that. So if you like this episode, please like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. I hope to see you guys next time. Take care and have a good night. Bye-bye.